Again, Alex, appreciate you coming on. Nostalgia Nomics. Um, I think this is episode number 18. 18, which is pretty crazy. It was probably a little over a year ago. Um, just meeting with tons of different collectors, and I really wanted to meet with you. I'm kind of sad you're not in the room with all the cool video games and the booklets and all that stuff. I'm gonna have to definitely get into talk about that. That is some. I love those strategy guides. It's
Yeah.
definitely some of my favorite stuff. I got a bunch of Grand Theft Auto ones that I'm a big fan of. But Nostalgianomics here's on YouTube. Probably been on YouTube approaching 6 months. I want to say, looking back at some of your older videos. Myself being a relatively new subscriber in the last 2 months to your channel, and I like consuming tons of different content. Not a pack opening content kind of guy, but pretty much anything Pokemon besides that. I guess I originally started with PokeRev and kind of just migrated out of that into kind of more of the investing, collecting, vintage stuff, and obviously stumbled upon your channel, which would happen naturally because your channel grew pretty quick. A little over 2,000 subscribers, which is awesome, man. Congratulations. You got yourself a nice little community going. But yeah, if you could, for those of them that don't know who you are, if you could just introduce yourself a little bit, that would be awesome, Alex.
Yeah. My name is Alex. My channel is called Nostalgianomics. Basically, I was just kind of outsider looking in for years and years. I mean, I got back into Pokemon in like 2015, and started collecting, and then kind of started saw things growing, so kind of transferred more to investing, and I put a good amount of money into Pokemon over the years, and then when the big boom happened, it really became kind of like life-changing money for my situation in Missouri, being middle class, what a lot of the stuff got to. And I was one of those people that I decided to jump ship, and so I sold about 90% of everything I owned back then.
Hell yeah.
And kind of walked away from it. I just kind of kept like kind of a lot of the stuff you see in my videos, like the strategy guys, the games, some Dragon Ball Z stuff, some of the binder sets. I kind of just kept like a few things for my collection, but sold majority of everything I had, and decided, I'm done with this. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to try to invest. I'm just going to enjoy the collecting again. And, something eventually pulled me back in here in the last year or so and really got me back in. And then I had some troubles like with, I just have some different views on things. I guess you could call them more radical type views, and, got me banned from, sites like E4. And I just felt like, my opinion was kind of getting kept down a little bit. And that's kind of why I started my channel, is just to kind of get opposing viewpoints out on the Pokemon market. And that's what brings me here today, sitting with you.
Yeah, no, yeah,
kind of a
definitely.
short, Cliff Note version of it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Well, the first thing I like doing is kind of understanding like where it all began. So obviously the 90s, was it with the video games kind of that you have displayed? Like where did it all begin? What started your collecting journey?
Man, I think it might have been the show, I guess. Probably the show, watching it before school, before grade school every day.
Yeah.
And then, kids either in my class or like my neighbors, started showing up with cards, and, they had the cards. And so obviously I ran to my parents and was kicking and screaming. I had to get some of the cards. And so
Yeah.
started opening the cards, and then Christmas came along, and, my parents bought me that yellow and blue Pokemon Game Boy Color
Oh yeah.
with Pokemon Red and Pokemon Yellow, and it just kind of evolved from there. It's kind of I really think it was the show first, then the cards, then the games.
Yeah. Hell yeah. No, so how long were you into the cards around that time? Were you into End of the Wizards of the Coast, or early, did you stop earlier?
Oh, how long did I stay in?
Yeah, like I got out
Yeah,
probably Gym Challenge. It was
right.
probably
Yeah, right around then. I think I did have some of the first couple sets of Neos, like when I went back through my old collection. But yeah, it was basically, into the gyms. And it wasn't even, I didn't really have them in English, Gym Heroes, Gym Challenge. A lot, I think the Rocket was mixed. And then like Gym Heroes, Gym Challenge were a lot of the Japanese, because, they were getting them sooner here at the local card shop. So I had a lot of Japanese. But Yeah, it was pretty much right around that time. You know, it was right into the boom with Base Jungle and Fossil, and then right out with kind of everyone else around Gym Challenge, Neo, Genesis or so.
Yep. So I was one of the kids that kind of went from Pokemon to Yu-Gi-Oh. Did you go into something else when you left Pokemon then, or what were you? What
Same
were you doing?
thing. Yu-Gi-Oh, watched the show, started collecting the cards, same exact thing.
Yep.
You know, I went back now and I bought the whole series of Yu-Gi-Oh and watched it. But I think back then I probably stopped watching it, kind of maybe like after Battle City, maybe into like, the whole Seal of Orichalcos type era is probably when I stopped. Like I never made it to the very end back then. But I since have went back and watched every episode. But yeah, that was kind of the time frame I watched it in, probably like that time frame.
Hell yeah. Did you ever play at all at any tournaments, or was it more just similar to what you did with Pokemon, just collected and played with your friends?
Yeah, exactly. Just like that. Probably never played by the right rules, just played with friends. And, I had a lot of fun, but never really was competitive player.
Yeah. What about like the video games? Any connection to Yu-Gi-Oh video games, or was it just cards?
Yeah. So what was it? I forget what the Game Boy Advance game was called, but they had a good game for Game Boy Advance.
Worldwide Edition was one of them.
Worldwide Edition, right?
That's one of the popular ones, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was there. And then also, the Falsebound Kingdom was fun. And then obviously Duelist of Roses for PS2 was the best one, in my opinion, for what I played. But I did like the Falsebound Kingdom for GameCube as well. That was fun too. Back when we used to have time to sit and play video games, right?
I gave up playing video games for Pokemon, basically, because I played Rocket League, Apex Legends, and sold skins on Rocket League was my little side hustle. It was literally making me almost no money, but I was getting maybe $20 a week out of it, but I was playing a video game, so it was cool. It was free. So I was
takes a lot of time though.
Yeah, I miss playing a lot of video games. It was a good time. When I retire in 30 years, I'll get back to playing them, and I'll be able to experience some of those Pokemon games I didn't get to play and stuff like that. So I really look forward to retirement.
Right, I hear
Can't come soon enough. That's for sure. So you're any Yu-Gi-Oh collection nowadays, or is it all basically Pokemon investing and collecting?
So Yu-Gi-Oh was another one that I let go during the boom. I did have first edition sets of LOB, Magic Ruler, Metal Raiders, Pharaoh Servant, one more. I forget what the last one was.
Magic Rulers.
I had Magic Ruler. I had a fifth set, but they were all first edition complete sets. Near mint to not light play, but like excellent to near mint condition. And so of which I paid next to nothing for, like maybe $100, $200, $300 for the set. They went up to being worth $700,000, $800,000, $900,000, and those were one of the things I sold. But yeah, I did have some Yu-Gi-Oh collection. Nothing crazy. I never got into graded Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I never had Yu-Gi-Oh. Oh, I did have Yu-Gi-Oh. I did have a sealed blister pack of like the first 6 series. But it wasn't worth a ton of money, but I did let those go as well.
Yeah, collecting those art sets is nice because there's just one.
Just one, right?
That's so much cheaper, and the packs are cheaper than Pokemon. It's if I collect packs, it would definitely be Yu-Gi-Oh just because of the cheapness.
Yeah, and I thought about going and getting some again. It just, it's so hard to go back and recollect things because, yeah, you're getting a better price than you sold them for, but then you start thinking about like, well, man, how much money is it going to cost me to go re-get all of the stuff I used to have, and do I really is it really worth that amount of money to me anymore? Like, because when I bought all the stuff, it was not near as much as what it got to, and it's still not near as much as what it's at now, and so it's like. You're in that constant, dilemma in your mind with it, right?
Yeah, and it's crazy how cheap modern Yu-Gi-Oh is. The booster box is like $69.99, like the next week after release. Like it's
yeah.
It I don't know if they just print the crap to the moon. There's obviously people are buying it for competitive play, but that's basically it. There is some collecting aspect to it, but it's very rare chase cards essentially is what they got in there.
Yeah, I looked into Yu-Gi-Oh a little bit too, not too long ago, and people think like Pokemon's hit and miss with like the good and bad sets. Yu-Gi-Oh's really hit and miss. Like some of the boxes will get to like $300 in a few years, and then some of them are literally like 5 years old, still at $60, about $70 a box. So it's way more hit and miss than Pokemon is.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like you can get cheap booster boxes, like the original like Magic Rulers I bought during the boom for probably $900, and it was a 36 pack box. It's cool. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it. But it's definitely I have a lot more nostalgia for it because I played it more. So I like Yu-Gi-Oh a lot more than Pokemon, but I have a lot of nostalgia for Pokemon too, which
So
really cool.
Do you have that stuff still?
I don't have anything from my childhood. I sold it all because I literally only played competitively. I never looked at them as collectibles, so I literally sold everything I had for like $200 when I got out of it, and I was moving out of my house at 18. So
Well, what about
yeah,
those boxes, like the Magic Ruler box and stuff? Did you keep any of that?
yeah. So I bought that during the boom a
Okay.
year and a half ago. So I still have that. That's
Awesome.
it's one of my only sealed boxes besides a box of Evolutions I was talked into buying by PokeRev. Because when he was shilling that to the moon, I bought 10 boxes of it for $100. So it worked out pretty well. I was pretty happy. So I definitely listened to some investor advice, and it was nice that he was shilling that so bad. So it did pretty good.
Evolution is always going to hold that special place in my mind. I was one of those people that I was always behind Evolutions. Even when it was getting all the hate, I was still buying boxes of it. I was still putting cases away. Like I always believed in Evolutions,
Yep.
just for the fact of that nostalgia. I opened more Evolutions product than I have any other modern product ever
Hell
so
yeah.
far. And so like I just knew how it felt for me and how it felt for like friends I talked to. I'm just like, other people are gonna feel this way. It's not just us. It can't be.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, I almost wish they did like the original art for the Blastoise and the Venusaur. They kind of they did it in celebrations, but
Yeah, that was a mistake.
total miss. They totally missed the mark. That would have been a huge home run for sure. It would have been nuts. So
I agree. Especially from some of the cars they put in there, just didn't like to leave those out didn't make any sense.
yeah. So when you got back in, you said it was around 2015. Was it because you saw Evolutions? Evolutions was 2016, right? So what was it in 2015 that kind of kicked it off for you?
Literally nothing. I was, I was at a point in my life where I was just like looking for, kind of joy from my old childhood back. And I was
Yeah.
buying a lot of old stuff. Like, I didn't have any, I had sold off all my old like game systems and games, like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, garage sales or whatever. And so I was buying a lot of that stuff back. I was buying like NES, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, N64, PS2. I was buying all those systems. And then like I'd buy like the games. Like I'd buy
Yeah.
like Pokemon Snap and Pokemon Stadium and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah. And so I got on eBay and found the old cards. So I bought like a base jungle and fossil complete set. And not first edition, not expensive.
Yeah.
Like I talked about before, I got them in and there was like, shadowless cards mixed in the base set. The jungle and fossil literally had first editions mixed in. Like the fossil had a first edition Aerodactyl. The jungle had like a first edition, Scyther. Like no one cared back then. They were just, no one knew what they had or what they were throwing in. So, just bought the first 3 sets. And then I didn't really buy much else for a while. And then like some time went on and I started thinking, about other stuff. Like, I wonder if like I could actually get a pack to open. Are those still out there? So I went and found packs and they were like $25, $30. I'm like, wow, base set pack. So I started buying some packs and I opened some. And then I was like, I just kind of want them to display. So I bought like one of each artwork to display and then I like bought the original starter deck and I opened one and I displayed one and it just kind of went from there. It was literally, I was just spending money. It was nothing like this whole, space we're in now. Like there was no like thinking about investment value. It was literally just, I'm having fun. I got money to spend. I want to enjoy my childhood. That's all it was.
Oh yeah. No, it's cool. I feel like that's kind of where I am now. Like I'm buying just a random stuff. Something like I did buy a modern card, but it just nostalgia from my childhood still because it's an old printed card, right? So I love it. It's definitely a lot of dopamine hits when you get those new things in the mail, and it's something special, man. It definitely is. I love it.
It is weird. Like you already know you bought it, but it's something
I
about when you get it and open it. It's just, you get that whole feeling right back again.
Especially like grading cards, like that is a awesome hit. Like just sending cards in raw getting them back slabbed, and even just buying off PWCC, getting a shipment in of 20 slabs that you've never had in your hands before is kind of cool. So it's not a good thing. It's I probably need to sell more than I am, but it's it's a journey. I'm in it for the long haul, for a long haul. So, what about yourself? You see yourself in it for quite some time, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing it like so much different than I did before. Like, um, me and a friend that I invested with and collected with, it's, I'm more on his level now where it's more of the investing side, where back then I was always kicking, like kind of battling the investing collection side. So it's like everything I bought, I had the investment in mind, but I was
Yeah,
still buying it for a collection. So like, with him, he would just kind of like any type of auction he could win or any type of deal he could get, he'd get. It didn't
yeah,
matter what kind of random item or card it was, like some random shadowless card, PSA 8. Like, well, why'd you buy that? Because it was $36 and they're going for 80. It's like, oh, okay. Like just that stuff. For me, I'm always like, oh no, I gotta get the whole set. I gotta get every PSA 9, or I have to get every blister pack artwork. I have to get every WotC theme deck. Like, so like I was buying them with the intent, like I think they're gonna go up in value, but really like I just had that collector mindset, like kind of like an OCD-ness, like right. I gotta like complete things. I gotta collect
yeah,
things. So but this time around, I'm really trying to take more of that, kind of investment mindset to where, I'm trying to pick things and invest in things I see going up in value. Like, I mean, I've talked about it before. Everyone knows, like, you don't
yep,
buy cases of boxes to display or because you want to collect them. Like, you may want to collect one, but
yeah,
I'm buying it, for the investment value. And then I'm also buying other things for just collection, but I have that in mind where, hey, I'm spending this money and not trying to make money on it. If I want to buy some cards or some items to display or to have, I'm going to do that. But then I separate it now to where, okay, this is going to be for investment. Then I'm going to spend this money for my entertainment money for the month type thing.
yep.
So that's how I've changed it up a bit. What about you? Everything is kind of jumbled together? Or?
Yeah, so I haven't bought like the last investment. I guess I buy slabs that I have and I sell them usually to flip, or I have them to collect them. I don't know if you want to call them investments because it's going to be sitting on my desk for 7 years. It guess turns into that, I guess. But the last one was the Evolutions boxes. I bought those, and but I definitely plan on probably definitely being. I can't imagine getting out of like the nerddom that is video games, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. Just bought my first MetaZoo cards last night on Heritage Auctions. So it's like a freaking rabbit hole, dude. It's I'm enjoying every bit of it. I like finding value, like you had said, and your friend does or did, just finding cheap auctions and stuff. I love looking at auction sites, and that's kind of my thing. I like looking at PWCC, Heritage, not so much like sealed, but I had like 10 grand. I was like, dude, my friend, I was like, Evolving Skies just went down to $100. We need to drop this 10 grand right now. Like, and he's like, nah, let's wait. So every time I saw that thing, it ticked up to like 180. I was like, bitch, look what you didn't do. Like, what? I'm like, you son of a gun. So I have never been in the position to ever sell booster boxes. It seems like a pain to me, because I'm so used to selling just like a slab in a bubble mailer. It's so easy. Um, but I
Yeah,
like
I
that.
don't, and I don't see myself getting out either. Like I know I said like I basically got out before, but like I still
Yeah,
held a collection. I still was buying things
yep,
to collect. So yeah, I never see myself like getting out of collecting. Like, yeah, Pokemon, the market really just crashed and just majority of people never want this stuff and all the stuff doesn't move anymore. Then yeah, I won't be doing what I'm doing now. But I mean, I'll still be buying things just because I mean, Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh, like these things we grew up with. Like there's so much a part of us. And if I have extra money, like I mean, those are the things I buy with it. I mean, whether
yeah,
I'm making all kind of money on investing, or whether I have a YouTube channel, anything. I mean, like I said, I came back in doing that. I mean, I didn't have a YouTube channel for the first 6 years I was in the hobby. So yeah, it becomes a part of you.
oh yeah,
I don't know if I'm gonna be like you or a lot of people and venture into like the MetaZoos and the new stuff. I'll probably stick with stuff I like have more affiliation with and know.
Yeah.
But I think it's all interesting and fun. I mean, I love seeing the new markets created and people, doing well with it. So
Yep. Yeah, I've always watched MetaZoo at like a high level and other things, comic books. I constantly on Heritage, I'm trying to learn more and more about really old gold, silver, bronze eras. Trying to learn all of that. It's crazy the stuff you can get into. And I want to get into comics. I love Batman, huge Batman fan. And I recently found out like the first appearances of like the Joker. He has one for the Golden Age, the Silver Age, and he has one for the Bronze Age. And some people like the first appearance isn't until the Bronze Age. Like they might not have a Gold Age appearance. So the Bronze Age, they say it's a Bronze Age first appearance, but that could be his first appearance ever in comics on the cover. So thought that was really cool. I just thought bronze was just cheap, silver was middle, gold was high class, but bronze could be a first appearance of this character on a cover, which I don't know. It's learning stuff every week and it's freaking awesome. Definitely wish I did buy all those Evolving Skies booster boxes. Sad I didn't. But there's a whole bunch. Like that's something I would do. Like if I ever got into and invested in like modern products, it would be booster boxes. And it would be because I saw this set is a really good value, probably close to $100 or a little less if possible. Um, it would have to really do something in my mind, like amazing set. That was the only set last year I was about to do it for. No other set. So I don't know. It's always in my mind. How could I make some more money? And that's kind of why I started in Pokemon in 2020. So just always
yeah,
hustling.
and and booster boxes and even ETBs, like they're pretty easy to deal with. I
Yeah.
mean, ETBs are a little more to store, but they're pretty easy to deal with. I mean, you just order a lump sum of boxes that basically fit boosters and ETBs pretty tightly. You wrap a couple pieces of bubble wrap around them, and they fit tight in the box. Tape it up. Not quite as easy as a slab, but definitely a
Yeah.
lot better than trying to deal with the collection boxes or UPCs or all these other weird shaped things. Those can be a little harder, but yeah, dealing, buying and selling booster boxes or ETBs, they're pretty simple.
Yeah.
You're not going to get in too big of a workload just doing boosters and ETBs or something.
Yeah. So do you do through distribution or you usually buy eBay, TCG Player, whatever's got the cheapest listing?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Never had distribution. I thought about getting into it, but it's just the thing with distribution. I've talked to some people, and it seems like they force you to take a plethora of different products. And so, like, in order to get like the good sets and the good products, you have to take the bad. So I think that's why we see a lot of those fire sale listings on eBay and stuff where people like, think there's something wrong or these stores must get just ridiculous deals. And a lot of times the stores really just aren't making a profit. They're just blowing out these lesser
Yeah.
collection boxes or these theme decks or these Pokeball tins. They're just getting rid of them because they were forced to take them by the distributor. And I just don't want to get forced into that. Like, I just want to buy what I'm going to buy. Like, yeah, I'm going to have to get in a little, higher than what distribution is. But that way I don't have to go through all that work of kind of, flipping all this extra product just to get to what I want.
Yeah. Yeah. I was listening to, I think it was Mason Cardinal Gaming. He had like a pin box. I don't know what type of box, but it had a pack in it that was worth cracking out and basically selling the pack instead of the pin box. So we'd basically break it down into different pieces because this box was not selling. So that's the kind of things you got to do, which is a hell of a grind. And yeah, I agree. I wouldn't want to be the pin box and all these trainer battle decks, and I could not. I'm a booster box guy. That'd be kind of where I would be.
There's recently a listing on eBay of they had the Lanceless Charizard V from Celebrations, right?
Yeah.
They had 50 available in one listing, and the guy had 6 listings of it. Like, you could buy up to 6 of them. So
Wow.
300 Charizard V, meaning he cracked open 300 of those boxes and sorted out the packs and divvied. It's like that's the kind of stuff that's happening right now, just so they don't have to ship collection boxes. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to go through all that. Like, it's just I'm out. It's too much work.
Well, I already got enough Amazon boxes coming to my house every day. I do not need more cardboard. It's they got like a direct line to my house at this point. It's insane.
It's always tied to. It's just tied to how much work you want to do. I mean, when I talk to like Jake Pokenomics about that type of stuff, or even Dan Catching All Collectibles, like, they're a lot more full time. I know Jake's not full time, Dan is, but they spend a lot more time, sifting through and bidding on thousands of auctions and finding all these collections and breaking them down and then grading the cards. And, then, they do a lot of different work. And I'm just not willing to do all that at this point. Like I used to do that. Right now I spend my time doing other things, and, I just don't have time to spend hours and hours and hours of my time like I used to. And I think it takes even more time now because it's even harder to find those deals. And, it's all about what kind of effort you want to put in. If you want to put in the effort, I think you can still do really good doing all that stuff.
Yeah, I was buying raw collections like crazy, like for a while. Now that was through Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups, never really on eBay, never really dove into eBay Pokemon collections. I feel like those things get bought up like instantly. As soon as they're listing, there's people refreshing Pokemon listings, and I didn't even bother looking at collections there. So, but yeah, it's definitely a grind to buy and sell singles, grading them. Especially, it's getting cheaper now, thank God. But for a while there, there was a lull of just too expensive.
How long have you been in collecting Pokemon? Back in
2020 May. So right, PSA was pretty much. I got a couple submissions in, and that's it. And the rest was started with CGC because PSA was shut down.
I was gonna say, it makes me sick to think about like the stuff on eBay, back 4 or 5 years ago. It's like, you wouldn't even touch it if it wasn't like at least like 50%. Like I'd be looking at it and I'm like, $500. That stuff's not even worth, $800 or $1,000. Like, I'm not going for that. Where now it's like, well, that $500, if I would have bought it and graded it and they'd have got good grades, like that's easily $5,000. And back then you're like, no, there's better. I'll wait for the next one. Yeah, and nowadays you'd be begging for those lots and they're nowhere. Everything's like almost at retail and very slim margins. You got to get like tens to make money. And I just go back to all those lots I passed on, just trying to look for the absolute perfect deals. And it's just funny, man. Things dried up.
Yeah, I luckily didn't get to experience that because that would have been sad. Missing out.
It just makes you sick. I'm glad you did.
It's crazy. Yeah, I had literally zero from probably. I always kind of stayed with Yu-Gi-Oh. I had friends that played. Same with Pokemon. I had friends that played competitively up until now in our 30s. So I always kind of knew it was existing and happening, but I never looked at the collectible aspect of it. And that I basically had 0 slabs, 0 Pokemon cards besides 1 in May of 2020. So It just, it's kind of exploded.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's become a problem. So, what about your collection? Is there something, because obviously you got the sweet games, the strategy guys, is there something that you wouldn't sell? Is it like, this is not an investment, this is staying?
I thought I had that.
Yeah.
I was never planning on selling any of my WotC boxes. I had some doubles of WotC boxes like Fossil, but no, I was planning to keep all my WotC boxes forever. Like how I got a lot of those was doing all that work. I mean, I'd buy the collections, break them down, grade the cards to get them in, flip them, make the profit, save up that profit, and then finally have enough to buy a WotC box, and then I'd buy another, Jungle box, and I'd buy a Fossil, and I built my whole collection that way. And those went in my safe. Like I was like, no, I'm never selling these. And things started going up, and $2,000 went to $4,000. And I'm like, oh wow, it's cool, but yeah. And then it went to 5, then 8, and then 10. I'm like, oh man, it's 5 figures now. And then it got to ridiculous, like $15,000, $20,000, $25,000. And I'm like, okay, I can't hold it anymore. I gotta go.
That's my price.
To think that everything I have now, like, I mean, I just don't have any high-end stuff. People ask me on my channel all the time, like, hey, show us your collection. It's like, guys, you need to ask, like, Rusty or, Jake or SM Pratt that. Like, me, I don't have anything great to show you. Like, I mean, you see a lot of what I have. I do have some cool singles. I got some slabs, some sealed product, but nothing like I used to have. Nothing like any of those guys have. My collection now is, sub $100,000. Like, I don't have it anymore. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, everything I have now, like, it's not that I wouldn't ever sell it. It's just like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I don't have
Yeah.
anything that's going to make me so much money if I sell it to where it makes sense. So, no, everything I have, I keep because it's not, there's no
Yeah.
real financial value there,
Yeah. That makes sense. Makes sense. It's I my only childhood card is like a base unlimited Charizard, so that's like the one thing for sure not sold because it's the only thing I had from my dad, so that he purchased me. So
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. The rest of my cards were given to my cousin, which is sad.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you talk about like the Game Boy games and the strategy guides. It's like, a red version complete in box with a strategy guide. I don't know what they're worth, $300-$400 maybe now. Like,
Yeah,
maybe the crystal's a little higher, but I mean, that whole shelf, I mean, I don't know. It's not even $10,000. Maybe
yeah,
not even five these days. I don't even know what they're worth, but it's not like it's a huge sum of money, right? Like, or like slabs that I have. I mean, I don't think I have many slabs that are even valued over $1,000 anymore. And so it's like, there's nothing to where it's like, I gotta get rid of it. So it's not that like they're so sentimental to me that I'll never sell it.
yeah,
Or like my binder collections, like, WotC binder collections, like, yeah, they're worth a little bit, maybe, in the thousands, some of them, but it's like, it's not so much money to where like, oh yeah, I need to sell this. It's just, yeah, it's a couple $1,000s after fees and shipping and all that. Like, you make a little bit, but
yeah.
so
Hold on
I
to it.
think it's less of they're so sentimental and more of well, there's not enough financial gain to really force me to sell it type thing.
Yeah, yep. No, I understand completely, completely. Um, so your YouTube channel, like I said, it was roughly 6 months old, about 150,000 views in that period, which is damn awesome. That's a lot of people, man. That's a lot of people watching. And I sit back and look at YouTube and I'm like, damn, I got 200 people watching this video. And like that's a movie theater times two. Like that's nowadays, that's a lot of people. Like, could you imagine just a bunch of people walking into a nostalgia nomics movie theater, just sitting down with popcorn and just watching you rant for 20 minutes? Like it's
I do think about that. It's crazy. Or like walking on stage to an auditorium and
yeah.
public speaking to 1,000 people. It's pretty crazy when you think about it like that.
Yeah, think about the numbers. Yeah, it's a lot of there's a lot of influence, and I love the community. It's really cool. Met a lot of cool people, and you're like yourself, man. It's I definitely love all the things going on in it. So really nice people, definitely. So your YouTube, what something had to kick like me, something kickstarted me to start uploading videos to YouTube. What was it? Where you're like, all right, F it, let's do it. I'm gonna upload this. I don't care what my family says about me. Let's do it. So what was had to be something.
I literally think it was just a combination of watching other YouTubers like on live streams and like, trying to get my opinions in the chat and either being like, you know, disagreed with or just totally skipped. And then I think the last thing was just getting banned from the E4 forum. I was finally just like, okay, if I'm not going to be allowed to talk or get my opinion out there, no one agrees with it, I'm just going to throw it out there and see if anyone else thinks this way. Because I and my personal group of friends, we can't be the only ones that think these things and see things this way. And so, I just threw it out there. And then the other thing was like, a lot of the space was going to the long form content, you know,
Yeah.
which I do add in. I mean, it's great. Like a
Yep.
lot of people like to see that. Like I like to watch it. But then, a lot of people like the shorter content where they're 10, 12, 15-minute videos. And I just felt like I could do a good job of getting a good amount of knowledge, good amount of information into those segments, making it a little more upbeat, a little more exciting.
Yeah.
Kind of like where people aren't going to fall asleep just watching it, just want to get a quick little bit of, knowledge, then get out. And I just felt like I could do it. Tried it, and it's going okay since.
Yeah. No, definitely. That's cool, man. It's like I said, building like I'm sure you love having all those community members and constant people coming back week after week or day after day, checking out videos. It's really cool to get to
It
know these
is.
people through that. It's awesome. It's awesome. Um, how long? Like, is it something you see for the long run? Do you plan on doing it YouTube as long as kind of you're doing like the investing thing? Like, what's the goal? Any just kind of doing it day by day or
Yeah, it's all day by day. I wish I had, I wish I had like a long-term vision, a long-term goal or some
yeah,
plans. It's like, a lot of my business, you know, that I have is, you know, based, you know, more in the summer months. So I think in winter, when things slow down, I'll be able to kind of get my head straight and come up with more of like a game plan on, you know, kind of where I envision the channel going and like where the building blocks are going to lead. But for now, I'm just like trying to keep content getting pumped out and keep everything growing, because I do notice that I kind of let things slide for a little bit and release a few less videos, and the channel did just go flatline. I mean,
Yeah.
like the subscribers stopped growing. I would lose some subscribers and gain some, and it flatlined. So I do see the significance on continuing to keep content going. So
Yeah.
I'm really just focused on that right now. And I'm just gonna kind of let the rest take care of itself as it goes. But yeah, as of this time, I don't really have huge plans right now. I'm just trying to kind of speak on things, topics or sets, or, you know, things that I see differently than others out there. And just kind of go with that for now. What about you? Do you have big plans, or do you have like a kind of master plan in mind when you started yours?
No, no, it's just basically like my first video was opening World of Warcraft boxes. I was a pack opening channel for like 7 videos. And it developed into just collecting, really. It's kind of just my different collecting things and talking about some news, PSA news, CGC, PWCC, Heritage, all the things that kind of affect me. Um, the only things I'm not usually talking about is modern, which is like we're on kind of different um, sound waves essentially. Like we're kind of, like I saw you had a Pokemon Go video I haven't watched yet, but it's crazy that there's that many different freaking Pokemon Go products. Just like clicking on it and seeing like 8 different products, I didn't even. There's that many freaking Pokemon Go products to choose from. It's freaking insane.
And that's not even all of them.
Yeah, it's insane. Can't keep up with it, and I'm kind of just staying. That's right. Like I'm keeping most of my knowledge in like the past vintage stuff, but I do like modern cards, like my Amazing Rare Kyogres and the new Zapdos I just purchased. And it's I don't know. I have appealed to some cards that look good, and I'm just in it to collect really, and that's I'm just gonna
Yeah.
ride it out, see how it goes. So
Yeah,
keep
pack
put.
opening's hard. I tried to film a video doing it once, and I never uploaded it. And I mean, I have some respect for those pack opening channels, because it's not easy.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. Yeah. Do you have kids?
I don't. No, it's just me and my wife.
Yeah, so I have a daughter who loves Ryan's World. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's the rich kid that opens like mystery boxes and plays with toys.
I know who
So
he is.
that smacks the views. And obviously mystery boxes that people are opening, literally all these pack openers, that will it just get moonshots every time you open a mystery thing because all the kids love it. And that's mostly what's viewing these. I bought one Pokerev pack. One. I don't know if you saw it, but I bought one and I got one of his gold packs and I got a vintage pack. And it was 1 in 25, and that's probably my top 4 most viewed video because it was a mystery pack. I'm
So
like,
you got that? You never got more? I'd have been addicted after that.
I bought one and done, man. One and done. Going out on the top. I lost money because it was an unlimited jungle and I got a Kangaskhan non-hollow. So I was like, oh, I still lost $50 in doing this, but it was cool. I haven't opened a jungle pack probably since 2000, so that was pretty cool. Very cool. Definitely enjoyed that. So yeah, I definitely enjoying the YouTube though. So I'm really curious. Obviously, the long form content. It's like Rudy Alpha Investments type speaking. You hit the record button, walk around the camera. It literally reminds me of similar like that type content, which is great. That guy's hilarious. Really, honestly enjoy like the last one of the last videos, the risk, talking about the risk. And this is all like I'm surrounded in risk. This is in my house. Like this thing could go down in flames, and I
Right.
don't have everything in here, but this is not free. Like I have some money sitting behind me, so there's a lot of risk in what I'm buying. I definitely related to that video a lot. There's a like Jake had made an addiction video at one point, and probably hit too close to home to what I've done in Pokemon in 2 years, and it's pretty crazy, man. I enjoy the risk of these type of investments. I obviously have a 401k, Roth IRA, but this is fun. This is way cool.
Yeah, I just don't you feel I just feel like, risk is such a bad rap all the time. It's like I feel like every investment video we see about Pokemon investing, it's always talks about, worry about the risk and there's all these safer things out there and this and that. It's like, well, I mean, yeah, it's all true, but let's tell the other side of it. I mean, a lot of the times when risks do pay off, I mean, a lot of the biggest channels and the biggest people in the hobby are the biggest people in the hobby because their risks paid off and now they're multimillionaires and they have these 7-8 figure positions. So it's like, let's tell it both ways. Let's say that, hey, yeah, you're taking a risk. You could lose your money, you could go down, but things could also work out well. We could have another craze, and Pokemon could come up with something else to blow things up, and you could do very well. I mean, just like with the video games. I mean, video games could be the comic books and fine wines and Mona Lisa artworks of our generation. Like, let's just tell it both ways. Like, yeah, there's no guarantees. Yeah, things can go down. Yes, there's risk, but hey, I mean, it goes both ways, right?
Yeah, it does. It's you gotta risk the biscuit. That's what it is. So like even in my own work, like I take risks to advance. Like you gotta walk into your boss and say, slap your balls on the table sometimes and say, dude, like what's going on? I need money or something. Like I got a new job. What are you gonna do for me? You take a risk in life. That's a risk. Walking in to tell your boss that type of stuff. So it's not the same as like an investment, but that's a serious risk having kids and walking in and your wife not working and telling them that type of thing and could change your life drastically in the matter of 20 seconds and then buying $1,000 Pokemon card. There's a risk. It's likely not going to go to zero, likely not going to go to 20,000. Yeah. So I'm there for it. It's pretty cool. So
yeah, I think it all comes down to like personal bias. Like I definitely have a personal bias when it comes to that. Everyone does, like I'm sure people that talk about the safety have a personal bias towards safety. But yeah, me, I mean, I've always been a risk taker. I mean, entrepreneur my whole life. I mean, I even, I've sold my business before. I've tried to day trade before. I've lost a bunch of money, had to start over from, not really scratch, but start over with a lot of money lost. You know, and back then my wife didn't really make any money. She was making like $15 an hour. We had a brand new house we just built. Like, I mean, I've been on the edge a lot of times in my life. So, I mean, I guess I'm very comfortable taking risks. And I think that comes out in my videos a little more than others. And, so it just comes down to personal bias, where someone else who's, really comfortable with safety and the safe play and, building things over years and years, that's going to come out in their bias in their videos, talking about how risk is not a good thing. You want to avoid risk and things. And, it just, there's a happy median all the time. Obviously, being too, risk averse can be kind of lead to a boring lifestyle, and being too risky can get you into a lot of trouble in life. So I think there's always a happy median, but it just comes down to each person's, the way they want to live, their risk tolerance, how they want to set up their life. I mean, I don't think it's our job to, kind of tell adults, what they should do with their money. Everyone knows there's risk involved in this, right?
Yeah, there's people at casinos right now.
Right.
There's people at casinos like racking. I needed $5 from a CVS. The minimum cash back was $10. I'm like, all right. It printed out at 10. I'm like, damn it, I need a 5 because I needed it for my golf league. So I go to stick it in this the machine to give me scratch offs. I was like, I'll buy a $5 ticket and get $5 back. I put it in. I buy the $5 ticket. It won't give me my money back. I have to buy another one. So I'm like, all right, odds are I'm going to win my money back. Zero. $10 straight to zero. Didn't even get a Pokemon card out of it. Not even a non-hollow rare. I was so, like, literally, I felt the worst in my life last week when I literally dumped $10 down the drain. Like, those people that are buying those things, like, the gambling's crazy. Pokemon, there's gambling, opening packs and stuff like that, but that's crazy. Like, I cannot do scratch offs. I literally wanted $5 and I could not get there. It was, man, that was sucked. It's it just will not forget about it.
Yeah.
$10.
Yeah, and like, I don't like to get as deep in as other people do, and into like the moral implications of like YouTube channels and Pokemon. It's like, because you could say things like that. Well, like obviously it's better than someone sitting at a slot machine and just pulling a handle all alone by themselves, like just like draining their soul into this machine.
Yeah.
Obviously it's better than that, but maybe it's not as good as taking your family out to a nice dinner or on a trip instead of putting $1,000 in a cart. There's like all these different implications, but I mean, it's just not my place. Like I talked about it in that video, like my channel is all 18 and up. I mean, we're all adults. We can spend our money the way we want. I mean, there's a lot of other places out there you can get advice on how to set up your finances. And this is not financial advice.
100,000%.
Right.
Everybody go buy MetaZoo. No. Yeah. Did you watch Logan Paul's podcast at all?
Yeah, which one? With Kevin O'Leary?
Just had the Kevin O'Leary one. He's got his new Pikachu Illustrator card now on Liquid Marketplace, the PSA 10.
I did see that.
He is asking now to be. He mentioned it to Kevin while he was on there. He wants to be like a volunteer shark or whatever, like a sit-in, and Kevin. They mentioned that they have therapists sitting outside waiting for when the people get denied. I don't know if you caught that part, but Kevin said basically when they deny people after a 3-hour negotiation and they've invested their life earnings and withdrew all their money out of their bank, and they say no, these people they need help because they just spent all their money and they just got smacked across the face by all these investors. Literally, there's therapists waiting for them basically on the other side of the door to talk to them on hand. And those people are taking risks. Like the people building companies, and you said you have a company. It scares a living crap out of me. Like I would love to do it. I would love to have something. I would love to work for myself, be my own boss, but holy cow, just that leap of faith. That's how you make money. You can make a hell of a lot of money owning a company, starting something from the ground up. But me being in corporate America, health insurance, it's not guaranteed by any means, but it's there. For me, my wife doesn't work. I have 2 kids. I want the guarantee of the paycheck, the 9 to 5. I wasn't in Pokemon, didn't strike it rich having cards from whatever. Not a lot of people did, like probably way less than 1% of people, obviously. So, it's.
Yeah, I'm like a quarter of the way through, so I probably didn't see all that part yet. So I'm anxious to hear that though. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's that was one of my favorite podcasts. I sat down, I made my wife watch it because I was sitting there. I didn't want to change it. I didn't want to turn on Stranger Things. It's like, nope, you're gonna watch this. So it was pretty cool. I enjoy his pod. I'd say about 50-50 on his podcast. Some of them are not a fan of the guests or have never heard of them. So, but I like Shark Tank, Kevin O'Leary, and some of the investing people is hilarious. So that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I mean, I've never been one of those people that like hate on the successful people, right? Like, like when Justin Bieber was getting big, everyone like hated on Justin Bieber. It's like, why are you hating on this kid? Like, he's coming up, doing what he loves, making millions of dollars, dating, all the hottest chicks on the planet. Why would you hate on this guy? Like, just like Jake and Logan Paul, it's like, yeah, they did some stupid things, but I mean, they're living their dreams. Like, they're finding ways to do the things they love and make massive amounts of money doing it. Like, how are you going to hate on these guys? So yeah, I'm the same way. I watch the podcast, same way as you. If I don't like the guest, I don't really watch it. And then I mean, I've watched all the boxing matches. I've watched all the Jakes and Logan's boxing. I mean, it's entertaining, and I think watching kind of that mainstream YouTube type stuff and all that drama stuff, I think it's probably what got me into a little trouble on YouTube as my little amount of time. Like, I'm just like, I just figure, hey, so what are you doing, YouTube? You get some drama going back and forth, and it didn't go over as well in the Pokemon space as I thought it would. I think I upset some people, and since then, I think we squashed a lot of the beef. But I think it definitely got me into some trouble thinking that this drama stuff's fun. I don't think a lot of people think it's fun.
Yeah, I'm not sure about. Yeah, exactly. The drama's interesting. I got some entertainment out of it. I'm here for it. So, but yeah, I stay out of any drama. I try and stay in my lane. That's pretty much it. That's as much as I can. But
We're
yeah,
here. We're just all here trying to have fun in our own ways.
yeah, exactly. Who is like your Pokemon PokeTuber? Who are the ones you were watching like before you kind of jumped in? You have like 3 or 4 channels you were kind of watching.
So obviously Rudy Alpha Investments since he was under
Yeah.
10,000 subscribers.
Wow.
Leonhardt since he was like under, I think started watching him around 30,000 ish subscribers.
Damn.
Who else? Back in the day they had you ever hear of Darium's Pokemon?
Heard of it for sure.
They were like huge. They were like mass pack openers. They were open like 1,000 packs at a time before that was like even a thing. Like so they were pretty fun to watch back in the day. And then SM Pratt, like I was subscribed to his channel like when he was like in like the 1,000, like maybe like 1,000 or 2,000 subscribers. So I was subscribed to a lot of the big channels now when they were like in their infancy. And then, just kind of moved on to more stuff like, stuff like this or, like, Pokenomics, Pokenowledge, more, Z&G Emporium, Squeaks, like, that type of stuff.
No,
But yeah, I mean, definitely came up watching a lot of the people, Ando, what's his channel? I can't think
Unlisted
of it.
Leaf. Yeah.
Yeah, Unlisted Leaf, obviously Unlisted Leaf, like all that mainstream stuff. Because back then, that was kind of like the stuff that was out there in Pokemon.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, kind of. I came up watching all that, and I've kind of transferred over to a lot of the longer form content and things like that.
So is there any like non-Pokemon YouTubers that you are subscribed to? Is there any of these different niches? Are you like a car guy or anything else?
Oh yeah, definitely like finance channels like Meet Kevin and Graham Stephan, those guys.
Yep. So you subscribe to both of them or
yeah.
So is there ever, because I've never subscribed, like I've been Graham Stephan follower since like way back, but Graham Stephan, Andre Jick, all of those guys, I'm not subscribed to any of them but Graham Stephan, just because I feel like it's almost conflicting information because I feel like they sometimes post the same things. So being subscribed, do you ever have that conflicting with Meet Kevin or Graham when you're listening or watching?
Yeah, I kind of like that though. I like hearing like different opinions. Like listening to like a Grant Cardone and then a Gary Vee and then like a Dave Ramsey and like hearing all those different aspects because I think there's good in like everyone's saying like they're all successful. They all did something right. And I just think there's like little bits and pieces you can take from each person to kind of make your own mindset, which I think is what people should do on YouTube with Pokemon is, take a little bit from you, a little from me, a little from what other people say, and kind of come up with your own, form your own way of collecting or investing in Pokemon. That's kind of what I would do with like life or investing or, finances in general, like doing those types of things. And same thing with YouTube. I mean, took a little from the hype channels, like the pack openers, a little from like the more longer form, a little from like finance channels, a little from like Jake Logan Paul type stuff or Rudy, like, and I tried to, mold a channel like that I wanted to have because, and I was realistic. I'm like, well, one, I'm not an editor, I can't do the cool edit stuff. 2, I'm not really, I don't know how I do vlogging. And like 3, I can make things kind of fun and entertaining, but I'd be more comfortable kind of in a stationary in front of a camera or something. So, I just try to pull all that together and make a YouTube channel that I thought could work. And same thing with like, finances and all those channels. I just try to pull a little bit from each person and mold something that works for me. I mean, what do you think about that?
100%. Yep. That's dead nuts, man. That's right where I was at because I think my first subscription was TJ Hunt, which is a car guy. And he vlogs, but collects cars. He has a shop. He works on cars. And I was like, I would love to do something like that, but with collectibles. I collect collectibles. I don't have a shop, but instead of working on cars, I'm either cracking slabs or regrading things. And I do try and do vlogs when I go to collecticons and stuff like that. And just more of the personal talking to the camera like you do. It's more of a vlog style video when you're sitting there in the camera in your house, recording, talking to it. I really enjoy that type of content. So I wanted to put that spin on what I did. And that's what you do. You kind of just learn from other people. And I also am not an editor. 95% of my videos are done on my phone and edited on my phone. These are done on a PC, recorded uploaded with you cut and stuff like that, but not getting into the explosions and all the cool stuff. It's yeah, I enjoy it thoroughly though. It's
I'm even worse than that. Like I don't edit like at all. Like so I'll record a video literally 10 times just to get it right. I mean, sometimes I'll have no notes at all. I'll just like
wow.
turn it on and start going. Other times I'll have like a few like notes, like things I want to hit. But if I screw up or like I mess up my train of thought and I can't think where I'm going, I just turn it off, think of it, turn it back on. And sometimes I'll have to record a video 8-10 times before I get it right and be able to post it. So, 10, 12, 15 minutes of straight talk. It's hard. It's hard to do that with no cuts. And so that's why it takes me a while to make videos sometimes. But that's like how much I do not want to edit. Like I don't want to have to go through and cut things out and patch things together. And so I'd love to make vlog style type videos, but I just know that I'm just not the person to go learn all the tech and learn how all the software works. And obviously, being smaller channels, it's not like we make any real money to like pay someone to do it. So I just know it's not really realistic right now. And so that's why I kind of steered away from those types of things.
Yep. Yeah. How much time are you spending a week on like Pokemon, whether it's consuming content or like looking at eBay listings, or what are you doing?
Too much? I don't know. Man, with YouTube now, I mean, I say at least like 15, 20 hours a week, maybe.
Of consuming content or making, for both?
All of it, like
Yeah.
consuming content, making content, searching eBay listings, researching, cards or products and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes you're able to do a couple things at once, right? Like while your videos uploading, you're, working on a thumbnail or you're researching eBay or you're letting a live stream play out while you're doing those things. So, they can kind of go at the same time. But yeah, I mean, it takes a good amount of time. I mean, you know how it is. Like you do a few films of a video, and then if you have to edit it, I have to take multiple takes. Then you got to make a thumbnail, go edit the thumbnail, make it how you want, upload it to YouTube, make sure the title, description, all that's right, and do that again and again. I reply to all my comments, all my emails and Instagram messages, which takes time, and it's and then on top of trying to do the same things I used to do with my collection and my investments and do all that, and so it takes up a good amount of time. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. No, it definitely is. The work-life balance is a struggle, and I know your wife probably just like my wife's like, really, you're recording another freaking video on a Thursday night at 9:30? What the hell are you doing? Like, but yeah, she pretty supportive of it all. She know anything about Pokemon and collectibles?
She's been super supportive about the whole thing. Knows nothing more than like an average like outsider looking in, like likes her EVs and knows a lot of the original Pokemon. It's so cute and all that stuff, but no, nothing on like the financial side or anything like that. I mean, nothing major, definitely. But as far as like the work-life balance, I tell you what, I feel like anything in life, before you write it off and act like it's easy, you need to do it. It's like anyone looking at YouTubers and like, oh, all they do is, turn the camera on and make videos. Like I could do that. It's like, yeah, maybe you could do it, but you have no clue how long and how much work it takes. And like just coming up with ideas, like that's not even talked about. The brainstorming of ideas for new video, constant new content again and again. Yeah. That just takes time. And then like, if you're doing a video, like sometimes I do, where you're like showing products or talking about things, you have to go find all those tabs, find all those right products, pull them all up, order them out, make sure you have a kind of a script on how you're going to move through those so it makes sense to people, and try to keep it under a certain amount of time. And it's just a lot of work. And, I was always an outsider looking in thinking, oh, that's the greatest job ever. Those people just turn on the camera and talk to it. It's so easy. Like, and it's just, it's not. And I'm sure everything in life is the same way. If you just kind of walk in someone else's shoes, I'm sure it's a lot harder than it looks like.
Yep, 100%. I think it was like $100. I got the Graham Stephan YouTube Masterclass.
Okay.
And that was a year and a half ago, and I probably still have it. I think it's a one-time buy thing, and that was some of the best Graham Stephan content I've ever seen, because he was cussing a storm and you never hear him swear. And seeing this guy swear, man, I was dying. It was hilarious, and it was probably some of my favorite content. Whether or not I learned much, I feel like I did a little bit, but I feel like I don't utilize much of the way he is so like into YouTube, like that is going through his veins. I'm not that by any means, and but watching, highly recommend it if you're ever bored. Somebody probably, basically, I think it's just YouTube videos that are unpublic or unlisted or something, so they're just links. But definitely it's hilarious.
Yeah, I took so many courses back in the day. I mean, from Amazon. I mean, did you ever get into like the online business type stuff?
Just eBay, no
Yeah.
e-commerce, Amazon.
There was, I mean, I took Amazon FBA courses. I took social media marketing courses, affiliate marketing courses. You know, like, I mean, I was trying a lot of different things, and I never put like tons of money in any of it. And then a lot of things I ended up like scraping my way back to even or maybe almost even. Like, so I never really lost too much, but put in tons of work and effort for basically nothing. And um, so I know what you're talking about trying these online courses, trying to do them, and
Yeah.
it never worked out for me. I mean, like I said, I don't think the content or the people like say they're scams. I don't think they're scams. It's just a lot of the stuff. I mean, people are making courses on things. Thousands of people are buying these courses. It's just it becomes so condensed, and it's hard for that many people to be able to make money doing the same thing. And so I don't think it's really a scam. It's just it's like anything else. The all the money rises to the top 10%, and the 90% all miss out, and they're the ones paying for it. And so yeah, and I definitely feel you on taking the courses and trying to make them work.
Yeah, there's definitely some pyramid schemes. I had a couple people try and sell me some fancy scissors and some stuff coming to my house sometimes, helping some friends out from high school. But yeah, it's
Hey, I did that too. I mean, not that low of stuff, but I was in a company called it was called ID Life, and it was basically personalized like vitamins and like fitness products, like supplements, like designed for your body. So you went online and filled out, kind of all of, your lifestyle, your everything about you, any like health conditions. And basically they designed a like supplement plan and a vitamin plan for you. And, you're supposed to you're trying to sell this to people. You're trying to get people under you to sell under you, got percentage of what they got, typical multi-level marketing type thing. So I tried that for a little while too. So yeah, I've been around, man. I've tried a little bit of everything, and still do what I do. So never got out of it.
Yeah, that's cool, man. No, it's I appreciate the hustle. That's for sure. It's a crazy world out there. You got to make your buck somehow. This is definitely one of my favorite side hustle I've ever had. I thoroughly enjoy it. Thoroughly, it's a good time. Definitely like you though, 15, 20 hours definitely of YouTube, Pokemon. Probably too much YouTube now. I feel like I've gotten away from. Well, I feel like I don't want to sell anything either, so I haven't literally listed anything on eBay in probably close to 6 months now. Just because of where the prices are, I don't care to sell at this price for a lot of my vintage stuff, so I'll just sit on it, ride it out till it goes to the ground, I guess. But yeah, too much time.
Yeah,
Spend a lot of
it
time.
goes back to that work-life balance, and like having your wife understand and stuff. It's like it literally feels the exact same to me as it did putting all the time into researching and investing things. Like like having like 3, 4, 5 hour conversations, maybe not 5 hour, but like 3 hour conversations on the phone at night with my friend, like back in the day, like talking about lots or things to invest in or put money into, and all this time spent on eBay, and it seemed like I was wasting all this time. But then like the boom happened and we made all this money, and it's like, oh, I get it now. Okay. And I feel like the YouTube thing, I'm hoping, is the same way. It's like putting all this front end work in, and eventually hopefully growing this into something where it can, build into something in the future where maybe not see the returns now, but might see them later. I feel like it's just like almost like a different type of investment. We're just investing all this time into something in hope that it pays off, in dividends later type thing.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yep. Have you any of your family members, they watch every of your videos, or no, it's kind of
I got a friend from high school that lives out of state now that he watches, and a couple local friends, they watch some of my videos. They tell me when they watch them, and kind of give me their thoughts on it. But nah, no family members. All my family's kind of the whole like, you still in those Pokemon cards? Like,
exactly. Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's exactly it. They're like, what the hell you spend how much goddamn money on those? What the hell are you doing, you crazy son of a bitch? Yeah.
Well, and just YouTube in general. I mean, some of my family members like isn't YouTube just like for how-to videos and stuff? I'm like, yeah, that's all it's for.
Exactly. That's how I fix my dryer. Yep.
Yeah, there's no sense in trying to explain it to people like, family members like that. It's like, yeah, you're past your time of, learning new things.
Yep. So talk a little bit more. We talked about investing, obviously, in a round full of different ways, but I'm curious, like, is there a set percentage you're looking for with your modern product? Is there like UPCs or booster boxes? Are you trying to at least 2x then you sell, or is it kind of more of a long-term hold? You'll feel it out when you think you're towards the peak and then sell, or what is it? Like, I think Pokemon Knowledge, he did very well with his Evolving Skies. Like a week before it reprinted the first time, he's like, this is going to reprint. And he said he sold them all. So that's amazing. If you can time it within a week, that's huge. So what is kind of like the way you look at when it's time to sell for some of the modern stuff?
It does get really weird like that. I mean, he's probably telling the truth because it gets to the point where you can literally almost feel when the market's going to shift. It's strange, but it does almost get to that point. But I don't ever have any like hard stops in mind, any like hard percentages or hard dollar amount gains or anything. What I try to do with a lot of the modern stuff is I try to buy like a good amount of the boxes. So whether it be like 3 cases, 5 cases, 10 cases, whatever it may be. And then when it gets to a point where I can kind of divest from some of it to get my money back and then hold the rest, that's where I'm really looking for. I'm looking for a certain portion of it to be long-term holdings, like as long as I can, picture. Like, I mean, what, 10 years, 20 years? I don't know.
Yeah.
Until I see like a major shift where I don't think it's ever going to go up anymore. But so I have it more in long-term holdings, but the first kind of half or first 3/4 of it, I usually do sell if there is like into like a spike, or if I do have to hold it 2, 3, 4 years until it happens. No real time frames in mind. Like I got out of a lot of my UPCs. I sold 12 of my UPCs. I had 20. Well, I actually sold 11 because I gave one away. But I sold 11 of my UPCs into the spike because it had reached a price enough. I was good enough up on it from where I got in. I wanted to lock in a lot of those profits. And I knew if it kept going, I'm fine because I'm holding, 2 full cases for, long term. But so I did just sell some of those. And I did sell all of my Evolving Skies ETB cases except 1 case because I was afraid of the reprints everyone's talking about. And I didn't, just judging from how everything else has been, I figured ETBs are going to be reprinted like every other set. And so I had 5 cases. I sold 4 full cases of those. I sold 2 as cases, and I sold 2 full cases of the 1 of each box, so 2 boxes.
Yeah.
And got out of all those. And so, there's things like that. But there's other sets where I've been holding a lot longer than those, and I haven't sold. So I really can't give like a benchmark on a certain amount of time frame. You just kind of got to feel out, the market, feel out what's happening.
Yeah, it's all in the science, pretty much. Like Pokemon Knowledge did. Sell it when you feel the market shifting, the winds are changing, and capitalize. It's makes complete sense. That's basically what I would do. I've never been a good guy to stick to a percentage to sell like a smart person does with stocks and day trading and all that. So
or time frame. You hear people talk about time frames, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, literally, this is. I mean, you were kind of during the boom, but like no exaggeration. During the boom, literally, I was buying things, like buying a case of, say, Burning Shadows booster boxes. And by the time it got to my front porch, like a week later, it was already up like 30%. Like that was the stupid stuff that was happening. So it's like, well, if you have a 2-year time frame in mind, what if in 6 months something goes up 100% or 200%? Are you really not going to sell that because it hasn't reached your 2-year time frame? Like, so it's why it's bad to have hard stops because every product's different. Every time in history in Pokemon is going to be different. Like right now we might be in a time where you might have to hold stuff for 2 and 3 years. You know, we might get to a time in the future at some point where the hype's back up and there's a lot of new people coming in, and you might be able to get out of items in 3 to 6 months. You know, it doesn't make you any less of an investor. It's just, you know, being an opportunist, you know, it makes sense a lot of the time. And, you know, having these like long-term visions in mind, it can work out. Like it has worked out, but there can always be times where it doesn't, right?
Yeah. Have you ever had to sell for a loss?
No.
Like, no? So
no, I know I'm a bad person to ask because I'm a person that got in at the right times. And
yeah.
Well, I mean, right, I guess if you ask me right now, if I had to sell, I would have to sell things at losses. I can say that. Like my Darkness Blaze ETBs, my Shining Fates ETBs, I would have to sell at losses. But no, I've never had to sell anything at a loss because of kind of, I guess, when I got in.
Yeah. So you're like, I guess I could probably say similar because I'm not listing my slabs on eBay. Like got them raw, so I probably wouldn't be a loss, but I feel like it's almost a loss because of where they could be for price. But I would be similar with my boxes. If I bought them, I would let them sit and stack until they finally came back. Price wise, I wouldn't be the guy that would, which is probably a reason I wouldn't want distribution. So I'm not building up this mound of stuff that I don't want to move on until I see a return. So, but yeah, I feel you for that. Having stuff that you don't want to move to take the loss, you might as well sit on it if you got the space and you got the time and you got the money. So makes sense.
I mean, I'm trying to go in my mind and think if I did lose, I mean, you know, it's just when the boom happened, it made it, anyone who was kind of in before that, made it almost impossible for you to take a loss. Even like, you know, my last PSA order I got back, which was like a bunch of the hype driven stuff. Like I was sending in just like base set Charmanders and Pikachus and Shadowless stuff. And it's like, even that stuff, like you can still get like $30 for the card. It's like, so even after the $10 grading fee and shipping and stuff, it still isn't a loss. So it's like, even after the crash, you know, I still really haven't maybe barely made any money, I guess you could say. But you know, as far as taking like losses, it's just, you know, other than stuff like I bought recently that hasn't moved yet. Like, you know, I mean, I got Darkness Blaze ETBs and Shining Fates ECBs recently. I bought some, you know, Vivid Voltage booster boxes recently. Sun and Moon base ETBs, Sword and Shield base ETBs. They still haven't really moved. There's stuff like that I've bought that just hasn't moved yet, to where if I had to sell it after shipping and fees, I would definitely be under my investment. So other than that type of stuff, no, I don't have any crazy loss stories, unfortunately, for you.
Yep. No, I was curious. I wasn't sure because I've sold slabs at a loss just to I guess get out of them.
Just to get rid of them, yeah.
But there's still probably made $1,000 selling it, but it's definitely what I probably paid more.
Or if you take like the whole order, I'm sure you're way ahead on the order.
Yeah, and I've got punished because I didn't buy my first PSA 10 slab until April of last year. I never had a PSA 10, or I was just getting in my graded cards back around that time. And so I've purchased graded cards through the boom. So I could honestly say a bunch of them are definitely losing value, but a bunch of the really high end stuff I have still is doing pretty well. But it's crazy to see the comparisons. And so you Sun and Moon base, what's the price? Do you have an idea what that price is? You said you just bought some.
Oh yeah, it's like still, I don't know, $50 in ETB. I think they're going for like maybe 100 or a little more if you sell the set of 2.
Okay.
And I bought those back. I got like, see, I forget what I actually bought them at, because like all my pricing I have in my spreadsheets are all based off like after my credit card rewards. And so, you know, my price on them was like a little under $400. I probably paid like maybe 400 or a little over 400 for the case. Yep. So I'm in about $40 in ETB. So realistically, I don't know, $80, selling for 100, shipping and fees. Maybe I'm breaking even on those. But like Shining Fates, I paid like, I think 47 in ETB, and they're under that. And you know, Darkness Blaze, they were really cheap. They were like $30. They were like $300 for a case, but they're still somewhere around there. So like that type of stuff, I'm just, you know, nowhere near on. Sword and Shield base. those ETBs are still $40, I think, 44, 45. So none of that stuff's moving right now, you know?
Really? So that's what I was kind of wondering. The reason I asked, because obviously we have the new generation coming out. So I was curious how the base set Sword and Shield and the base set Sun and Moon were looking, because I have no clue on how like a booster box is that maybe $200 right now, those base sets or no?
Yeah. So that's why I bought the ETBs is I saw I could get cases for around $400. And I saw that the booster boxes were both in the 200s. Like the Sword and Shield base and the Sun and Moon base are both in the mid twos, low to mid twos.
Okay.
And so I'm like, well, you know, you get 36 packs in a booster box, you know, 5 ETBs, you know, with 8 packs a piece, you get 40 packs. That's only $400. That's only $200 compared to like over 200. So I'm like, well, the value is actually more here in packs, and you get the sleeves and all that type of stuff. I'm like, so that's where I kind of got that idea. And I was like, Sun and Moon, they're already 2017. I mean, that's old. Sword and Shield base is getting old. So that's why, you know, I moved into those. I knew it was probably going to be a little longer term for those products to sell out because they are less popular. But I think they are going to end up moving. You know, could be wrong. I also don't think it's like a super risky play. It may not be the biggest gainer, but I mean, I really don't see them crashing down because of they're not going to have more supply come and, you know, the demand's pretty much steady, you know. So
yeah, that was something I was
like that.
Yeah, it's something I was thinking to analyze. Like I was doing it in my brain. Like these are now going to be, you could say, the rookie cards for this new generation coming out, for this new, drawing a blank, Violet and something.
Yeah. That's kind of like Sun and Moon base is like that. They're like the first rainbow rares.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, that's good stuff. I look at and think about, and going to probably do a little bit more digging into kind of the history of the XY base, Sun and Moon base, because they are $200-ish. If you can, and that was 5 years ago. Sun and Moon base came out. You said?
Yeah, I think it's 17 now. So yeah, I think we're going 5 years.
Yeah. So still 5
but hey,
years.
I mean, that's, you know, that's another kind of point though, that not everything moves.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
just not everything is going to always move.
Yeah, I wonder, almost like, because there's a 1.9 billion cards printed last year, they said. Like, do you think we could almost be in a junk wax era for Pokemon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think probably 95% of the graded cards are not going to have much value. You know, I mean, I think, you know, the chase cards that, you know, everyone's after that you can get in 10s. I think they're going to be fine. But, you know, like one perfect example is evolutions. Like all these evolutions, 8s and 9s. I mean, they're just not going to hold the value. Maybe the base Charizard, like the evolution Charizard, will hold some value in a 9. But all the other ones, I mean, you've seen them. They're all in the, you know, $30, $40 range. They might even end in the 20s at auctions sometimes. I mean, this is what you're going to see, I think, with a lot of stuff. Because, I mean, if you look at, you just type in Pokemon PSA 10 and watch some of those auctions end on eBay, there's auctions that'll end in like the high 20s and 30s, like in PSA 10. And that's, you know, that's scary, right? So I think it's just more important now than ever. The same way with sealed product, is to be really selective with the cards you're investing in, the products you're investing in, because it's not like it was back in Sun and Moon. You can't just buy everything and it's all going to go up. And I think people got used to that. Yeah, I think there are still going to be great cards that do hold their value. It's just, it's not going to just be shooting fish in a barrel anymore, you know?
Yeah. And I don't know if it sounds similar now that I'm hearing it. I said junk wax. So I was referring more to the sealed products instead of the slabs. I know slabs there's definitely hundreds weekly that don't give bids on PWCC that are then gifted to PWCC because they don't sell. It's upon us. There's people that submitted things that were not worth submitting. But I was more referring to like the sealed products. Is it a junk wax era, like the sports cards in the 90s? Because I feel like there's tons of product. They made the printers go burr, as they said. And for all these sets, it seems, obviously Brilliant Stars, I think, is still tough to attain and get, but Evolving Skies is similar. But all these other sets, there's still tons of it out there. It's almost scary to me just to think that, like, thinking about junk wax era for sports cards. Could it happen in Pokemon? Did it happen before? And where, kind of think about where we're headed. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, did you see that video I made about like how much stuff like sells per day? I
Have
made
not.
I was showing like eBay and just TCG players. So obviously there's way more
Yep.
sites than that. There's Amazon, there's Troll and Toad, there's local game stores, websites, there's all these different sellers, right? But I just focused on just those two websites.
Yep.
And when I did that video a couple weeks ago, a few weeks ago, I forget when, things like Brilliant Stars or Evolving Skies, they were selling something like 8 to 10 cases a day just on those two sites.
Yeah.
So they were selling something like 70, 80, 90 boxes a day, just on those two sites. And so that's happening daily. And you can go like to Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, Fusion Strike. The same thing's happening. They're selling like 2, 3, 4 cases a day still.
Yeah.
You just go look at sold listings on TCG Player and sold listings on eBay. And that's just those two sites, not counting everywhere else. So it happens kind of under our noses and people don't realize it, but the product gets bought. And what's happening with a lot of this product is they're not cases that are selling. They're one box orders. TCG Player and AB, they're 1 and 2 box orders. And investors aren't buying 1 and 2 boxes. Collectors are, small investors are, but a lot of people are opening that product. They're buying it to open. And what happens is over time, little by little gets just chipped away at this big mountain. And eventually that big mountain gets smaller, and smaller. And then eventually those prices rise because that mountain's smaller, and people kind of freak out and say, well, what's pushing this up? Why is there this random run on Battle Styles? And it's nothing crazy happened. It's just time goes on and the supply gets eaten away.
Yeah.
And I think I'm pretty confident in booster boxes. I'm getting really not confident in auxiliary items. So like ETBs were always like reprint safe. Now they're the most reprinted. Like all the different collection boxes and tins, and we're just getting bombarded with products. I think the booster box, unless it's a specialty set like Celebrations, Pokemon Go, it's obviously the ETB, but we're just getting pelted with so many things that I still think the booster box is going to remain valuable because that's going to be obviously the #1 collection piece that people are going to want to own. It's #1 opening piece because it's usually the best value of packs of opening. And, I think it's the most popular item people flock to in the sets. So I do still see a bright future for booster boxes, even on kind of those more, junk sets we would say right now. But because we see it with X and Y when things got reprinted, they came back up. I get it, we went through a boom, but even things like Crimson Invasion, Steam Seas, they're holding their value. Rebel Clash is holding its high hundreds value. Like we're starting to see Vivid Voltage start to move now in booster boxes. So I just think as time goes on, the supply gets eaten away. A lot less people than what's kind of publicized are not holding on to the project because, not to get too long-winded with this answer, but we're in this Pokemon sphere, this investing sphere. So we think that everyone is just holding on to sealed product. Everyone's got Mountain sealed product. When in reality, it's probably a very small amount of the community that's actually holding on to sealed product. Even the people that talk like they are, they may have a couple boxes, right? Or a case. Like people don't have mountains of sealed product like Rudy does. It just doesn't happen. And so I think there's less out there than people want to admit to themselves, and a lot more of it is getting opened. A lot more of it's getting printed than ever, but that's because the demand's bigger than ever. And so I do still see it getting eaten away. I do still see us seeing price rises in the future. I'm more worried about the auxiliary items, like the pin collections, the collection boxes, the tins, things like that.
Yeah. No, that's great. Good take on it for sure. I totally agree with pretty much everything you just said. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. I'm really excited to see us come. It's not officially a recession, I don't think yet. I don't think they've held that flag up yet, but it's everything's pointing at it. When my brothers across the pond in Ontario are paying $8.50 a gallon, it's crazy. I live in Michigan and they're 30 minutes away and they're paying $8.50 a gallon, and we're only $5.30 a gallon. They pay by the liter, but if you do the math, it's still $8.50. It's insane.
So you're in Michigan. So are you on Eastern time now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I thought that's they were Central. That's my mistake.
Nope. But it's insane. Nobody's got the expendable money right now, rightfully so. Z&G Emporium talks about it all the time. There's $7 for McGriddles nowadays. Ain't nobody spending $4 on a Pokemon pack. But I definitely enjoy seeing Pokemon at I feel like it wasn't at Walgreens the matter of 3 years ago. I feel like they're getting back into those. I would love I mentioned it before. I would love to see Pokemon at a 7-Eleven. It would kill me. Like it would cost me money. That would be my scratch off. Like I'd get whatever, a drink, and I'd be like, all right, I'll get a pack of Darkness Ablaze. Why not? Like that would be my best chance at getting modern product. Because I'd be that guy. I'd be the impulse buyer buying a pack. It'd be pretty cool. Um, but I feel like 7-Eleven will never jump into it, sadly. But
So what I mean, what are your views on it? I mean, what are your outlook in the in the years to come? Next year, 2, 3, 4 years. Like, I mean, are you pretty bullish still? Are you is the bearishness getting to you, or what are you thinking?
I like looking at trends. So like obviously, like the most comparable thing, maybe not sports cards, just because those are real people, but fantasy items like comic books is the thing I look at. Obviously, there's millions and millions of dollars worth of comic book selling weekly, daily. The collectors in there are much older. I think there's a shift that will happen. People like us will get older. My cards got better and better as I make more and more money. Even in the last 2 years, I've been buying nicer and nicer cards. Like if you look back 2 years ago, the cards I were buying, my salary has changed quite a bit in 2 years. It's like it's almost night and day. People will buy nicer things as they make more money and have more expendable income. And I'm living proof of that. I mean, myself, I might be a unicorn or I don't know, but I feel like other people feel that way. Like everyone says first edition base. It was probably the first thing that went up in the boom because that's kind of what everyone goes to. They see the first edition stamp. And I think in the long haul, like even if it's 20 years, 30 years, like that's like insane to think about where this could be in 30 years. It's like probably in I don't know, could be insane, like comics.
Yeah, and that's what really screwed me up with like the whole getting out of everything is, everything kind of hit almost like the 20-year benchmarks for me in a year, right? I mean,
Yeah.
when I talk about it all the time about like people ask, do you think you got lucky or you think you were just smart? And it's like, I think I was smart in what I was in my like kind of my outlook, but
Yeah.
I got incredibly lucky on the time frame. It's like I was thinking that those things could get to that like by the time I maybe 20, 30 years plus or something. Like I was thinking, yeah, this base set booster box is 2,000 now, but maybe it could be 20,000 in 20 years. And
Not
it just like
20
happened in a
months.
year. And
Yeah.
so I think that's what got me scared and knew things were going to crash. I'm like, this happened way too quickly. This isn't real. And that's why I jumped out. And a lot of the stuff held. And, I got it wrong. I mean, I would say I got it wrong. I think a lot of the stuff fell from where I sold it still.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of it has pretty good, actually. But yeah, I mean, everything actually held a lot better than I thought it would. I thought this was just going to be a straight up and a straight down and, flat line. And I'm really surprised at how things have held, especially the modern stuff. I mean, I thought all the Sun and Moon XY stuff was going way, way, way down because I was hearing a lot of that stuff back then. Like not as much as you hear it now, but I remember hearing back then that people are putting this stuff away. Everyone's putting this stuff away now. It's not going to be worth that in 20 years, like
Yeah.
the base set and stuff is. And I mean, I was hearing it back then and doing it. But yeah, I'm really surprised at how well everything is held. And I think what you said, it's a whole different world in sports. Everyone wants to compare it to sports, but the fantasy stuff, things that aren't connected to real people, it's a different world, right?
Yeah. Yep. Obviously, there's nostalgia for real people too. Like I did have like Detroit sports legend cards. So that's the first thing I'm drawn to. Their rookie cards, like the Steve Eisman, Barry Sanders, like the old school. That's like those are the first sports cards I wanted to go towards. I'm not going for the Dylan Larkin, the modern. I do have them, but that wasn't the first thing I went for. I want to go for the guys I grew up watching, and that's what everybody does. Like those are the expensive cards in sports. So
So
there
let
is
me
some
ask you
relation.
something. Like when you talk about going for like the as your salary increased, going for the higher dollar stuff, do you mean like you had the same stuff in like a lower grade, or are you saying like you're actually buying like more stuff? Like so, say like the games behind you. Did you have like a complete in box copy and then you upgraded it to a sealed graded copy, or was it just like you were buying lesser stuff and now you're buying more expensive stuff?
Yeah, it's basically just buying cheap, like I was buying collections, but then like I was buying $500 collection, $1,000 collection. Then I bought a $10,000 collection. Then I bought a $23,000 collection. So like raw Pokemon collections. So we went up quick. But video games isn't good because I bought most of those raw. But so basically I would not have, like 2 years ago, I'm not spending $2,400 on a modern Zapdos card. Like this is from the
modern.
This is from the creatures deck.
Oh, okay.
So like that wasn't even a thought in my mind. Like I would when I spent $1,500 on a Zapdos card a little over a year ago, that was absolutely insane. I was like, I can't believe I just did that out one piece of cardboard, and that has probably 10x from there. It's insane. So it's just buying more expensive slabs. That's pretty much what I'm saying. So I can higher grade, like first edition base. I never thought I'd go after PSA 9 first edition base set a year ago, and now I have all of it except for the Charizard. So I had binders. The first thing I did is I made a first edition base binder. I had a jungle binder, shadowless binder. I went for binders because they were cheap and affordable. And then now that's kind of to the side because now I can afford the graded cards. And like I said, I might just be the less than 1%. Maybe I'm the only one thinking that way. Obviously, Rattle, he's only binders, does not do graded cards. So there are people that think complete opposite of me.
What does he buy?
What?
What does Rattle buy?
He's only binder collections.
Oh, okay.
So he buys graded cards to crack them to create master sets, essentially.
Oh,
so
okay.
he's literally the exact opposite of what I do. I'll buy graded cards or I'll buy raw to grade them, and he's buying graded to crack to fill binders. So, but that's what I was doing. I was doing the cheaper stuff, the binders. I got the huge nostalgia kicks, but I'm like, well, there's more money over here. I can spend more money. I can make more money. So it's making more money has definitely led me to get deeper and interest. I don't plan on ever getting into trophy cards. I've expressed my feeling towards them. I don't like buying other people's winnings. It's kind of strange, but it would be cool. The only reason I would is if I got a trophy and knew who won it and maybe had some type of something from them saying, hey, enjoy the card I won. Like just even if I had like an article showing like how he earned it, like what tournament was it in, what did he play, like if I had that, and if I had like his world champion deck next to the trophy card, that'd be really cool. But just having like,
yeah,
I don't know, it's really strange that these people got to bust their balls to win these trophies, and their biggest prize is selling their trophy. It's sad. And it's good that they're making money and doing something with it, but damn, it sucks that's how they're getting their money. And
that's that is the first time I've heard anyone in the entire hobby explain it to me in a way that made sense. I would actually love to have that, something like that, where I knew the person, like I saw them win it. I had the same deck they had. It doesn't have the same deck they played with, but created the same deck and had the trophy. That would be so cool to like have it as a display piece. But other than that, I've never got into it. I mean, I've been watching SM Pratt since the beginning. I've never understood it. I mean, I could have bought all those cards back when they were nothing, when he was trying to push them. And you having the PSA 9 first edition base set, that means so much more to me than any one of those trophies that are worth 10 times more. It's just like, there's no nostalgia. I don't really get it. You're just chasing after something that's rare. It'd be like me trying to buy some famous artwork done by, Da Vinci just because he painted it and it's worth that much. It's like, it has no feeling for me. And like, so that's why I've never gotten into the trophies. But when you explained it right there, that would be really cool to like have that experience, like be at the event, see it won, have the card, have the deck. That would be really cool. So
I feel like it should be extremely easy to kind of go through. Okay, like Dan just sold his number 2 and or 3 and I don't know. He sold 2 of them to Rusty, 2 and 4 or 3 and 4. I can't remember. Maybe it's 2 and 4. The Pikachu full art trophy cards. It would be awesome to kind of do the backtrack because God knows there's not that many owners of these cards by the time he bought one of them from the person. So I would definitely be a lot more attached to that if I was able to shake his hand, dude, you did a great job, badass. You did really good in this tournament. Appreciate you selling this to me. Like that, having that connection is even better than just kind of buying one off PWCC. I could never do that. But yeah,
it wouldn't have any meaning.
Yeah, it's basically an investment at that point. You're buying something because you got 30 grand. You want to buy this because you see the potential, and there's I don't know, there's no nostalgia. It's more just you're throwing the money around, really. But yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! I would feel like it'd be really easy to find the winner, like because there's not many people owning these $30,000 cards. You can say, hey, who'd you get it from? Hey, who'd you get it from? You don't got to give me a price, but I'd like to know and see who ended up winning this card, what year in the tournament, and that would be cool to me. I would definitely. I want to do that for Yu-Gi-Oh! There's a couple cards I have nostalgia for in Yu-Gi-Oh! For prize cards, and would love to do something like that.
Yeah, I even started looking back, like trying to. I was thinking about collecting Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, and I'm like, maybe cool to get like the starter deck Kaiba, starter deck Yugi, and get like the Blue Eyes and the Dark Magician. I'm just like, oh, okay. So everyone feels that way, obviously. I gotcha.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, those are even the unlimited ones are like $400. The unlimited starter decks.
It's because everyone has that same mindset.
Yeah.
That's what puts the price up. Is everyone? That's why it just gives me so much like confidence in the future of a lot of this stuff. Is because this is what people choose to spend their money on. It's not, I think a lot of people think it's like, oh, it's because YouTubers are hyping it. Yeah, it's part of it. Like you said with the evolutions of PokeRev, it's part of it. But there's also a huge part that it's just because it's what people like. It's what they gravitate to. And when they have money and extra money, they say, oh, it's something I've always wanted to own. I always wanted to have that card or that box and it's just constant cycle, right?
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hell of a world we live in, man. But if like I could just picture like people on a foreign planet watching us on telescopes, like, what the hell is this dude doing? Spending $20,000 on cardboard? We got tons of that shit. Like, what? Like, yeah, it's cool. The nostalgia.
So if you wouldn't mind talking about it, you did that recently? That $22,000 collection?
That was January of 21. Yep.
Okay.
I posted I was like the video of me getting home with it and opening it. But yeah, it was my buddy met a guy on eBay. He bought a first edition base set Charizard. The guy used to own a shop in California. He's like, hey Josh, I think I got something. I'm like, going on. So then he sent me a bunch of pictures. We did not come to a deal over the phone. They drove from San Francisco to LA. I flew from Detroit to LA. And basically we were sitting at a table looking at this massive collection, coming up with a deal. I literally flew to LA without having a deal locked in. So I flew there with cash, and I only flew there. I flew there with 23 grand, and my buddy he was going to buy a portion of it. I think it was like 14. So we had almost $37,000 sitting on the table, and the collection was huge. It was huge, and you'll definitely have to go check it out. I'll send it to you. Take a look at what I bought, but basically negotiated, lowballed the shit out of them at first, lowball, and they got pissed. I was like, oh, please don't tell me I flew to LA for no reason. My wife's gonna kill me. But yeah, basically ended up going to 23,000, which was I think 1,000 less than I took. Actually, I took 24, and got my portion. It was 2 complete first edition base sets, like almost 3 expedition sets, full reverse sets. Like, it was crazy. It was awesome. Basically filled my entire luggage, left my clothes there, and flew home. It was like a 24-hour trip and kind of kick-started everything. Lots of grading.
Say you did very well on that.
Yeah, lots of lots of grading. I did not grade any of the first edition base set cards. That was right in the boom, and I sold them raw for lots of money.
Really?
Yeah, sold them raw for the first set I sold was for 45 grand raw.
So none of the ones you have are yours, the ones you bought?
No, I don't. Yeah, none of that. No, like I said, I have one from my childhood, one card, that base set unlimited Charizard.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, all the ones I have, yeah, I didn't grade any of them. I've always sold them raw because yep. These are all purchased in last year.
So you had any experiences like that since, or is that pretty much the big one?
Yep. So there was two $10,000 collections before that one, or no, there was a $10,000 one I flew down to Kansas City for in the last 8 months. That was awesome as well. But yeah, it's awesome. I love meeting all these people. I drove 8 hours to Baltimore for like a $10,000 collection. This kid was like, the kid's like 16. He got gifted this collection. His mom and dad were there with him, and they got 12 binders on the table, and they're selling half of the collection. Half of the collection was 10 grand. And basically all it was like a private bidding on Facebook group, some Pokemon Facebook group. They posted it, and they were taking bids. They weren't bidding people up saying, hey, this guy offered this. Basically, whoever offered the most, which I ended up offering the most, and it was awesome, awesome. And basically
How you
bought
find a lot of these is Facebook.
Yeah, I've a few of them for myself, like 10,000. Like there's not a lot of competition in a $10,000 collection on some of these groups, and the people got to see it. So a lot of people don't see it sometimes. So yeah, there is competition, but that is some you can find. It's been a while. I haven't seen any sweet stuff like raw collections going for sale in a while. Hasn't been hitting the news and headlines, so
Yeah.
people aren't really flocking to their closets to
Because
sell everything.
I think a lot of those, I think that's why I kind of go back and forth with some people, now about it, is because I think it sounds like a lot of those were kind of before the last year or so, right?
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, in the last year, I think I said like yeah, it's probably been almost a year since I bought the one in Kansas City.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's why I kind of have like the view I have on things now is like, yeah, it was all good back in the day, but it's not really available now. Like it's not realistic for people to go out and find those right now. And
Oh yeah.
you know,
It's yeah.
I guess there's people that if you really stay, hard nose to the grind, you can find them. But I mean, I don't see them anymore anywhere I look. And I guess they're out there, but it's not like it was back in the day. They didn't just come up like every so often like they used to. And so that's why I think
Yep.
it's just so much harder to do that anymore in 2022 moving forward.
Yeah. It's a lot of the things hitting the news, making headlines. Pokemon sold for $40 million or whatever. So these people see the headlines like, oh, I should sell these. Like, yeah, it's stuff like that we're not getting that now. We're not hitting headlines and I say we Pokemon collectors or Pokemon things in the media. So yeah, I've been lucky timing, but also it's a skill being able to look at a binder and assessing the value and how much money I can get from it. It's I love it. It's like looking at a store, not a store, like a storage locker. Like um I forget what the name of that show is.
Storage Wars.
Storage Wars. Yeah, it's basically like I can do that, but with a binder. So
Yeah.
and that's my friends don't understand it. They're like, how the hell do you know how much this is worth? Why is this Charizard worth $3 and that one's 2 grand? Like it's you take it for granted, but it's so much time and effort we built into just knowing all this. It's a huge
Well,
advantage.
that's what I said that everyone should grade a stack of cards at some point in their life if they're really looking to get into, getting into grading or investing in graded cards. Because,
Yeah.
pre-grading is one of the hardest parts. And like to really be honest with yourself, like you want to look at cards and, oh yeah, I'm going to get a 10. I'm going to get a 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like being able to be honest with yourself and look at a card and be able to realistically judge it and know where it's going to fall, and then be able to like, price range that on what they're actually going for and kind of liquidity they're going to have, how long you're going to hold them. Like that, there's so much going on in your head when you're trying to look at a collection and make a offer off the top of your head. And you just can't do those things if one, you haven't done the research, you don't really know the market and price points. Two, if you've never graded cards before and don't really
Yeah.
realize what goes in, like what constitutes a 7 or an 8 or a 9 or a 10. Like there's so much that goes into it that people jumping in and thinking they can just start going, you could get into a lot of trouble if you kind of jump in with no experience,
Yep. You can get slapped pretty good. So
Yeah.
definitely YouTube, all this YouTube content, people, it definitely helped me. And even the pack openers, they talk about all this similar stuff, the grading sometimes, and Leonhardt's grading and cracking now, it seems. So it's really cool to see that development, and yeah, lots of education for people to gain, and Knowledge is power, man. Say it all the time.
Yeah, so it's all fun, you know. Everyone's doing their own different thing, and you know, we'll all get to see, you know, together what works, what doesn't, and you know, it's a fun ride either way.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. So probably gonna wrap it up, man. I
Yeah,
need to go spend some time with my wife. It's been like 48 hours since I've seen her. We need to watch some more Stranger Things, but
I got you.
definitely appreciate you coming on, my man. I've been a thrill talking to you, kind of more of the backstory, getting more to know you. It's pretty awesome. Looking forward to continue watching some of your content. I definitely that thing you mentioned about TCG player, looking at some of the sales of something new I learned from Mason from Cardinal Gaming, that you can look at sales history on TCG player, which is awesome tool to have, and you can see how many are selling every day. So I'll definitely have to check that video out of yours. All your info, Instagram, YouTube, I'll link it down below in the description. Highly recommend people to go check out your channel. It's growing like a weed. So appreciate the content you're putting out. It's all good, man. I appreciate it.
Dude, appreciate all the kind words, man. You as well. And like I said, I know you're about to hit that big 1,000 mark. I know it's gonna be a fun time. So congrats on that. And yeah, we'll definitely do this again sometime, right?
Oh yeah, man. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely the door is always open. So I
Cool.
will talk to you soon, Alex. All right, man.
All right, man. Talk to you soon.
All right,
Later.
man. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, peace.